Hello, I'm Jessica Mull, a board-certified music therapist and adjunct faculty with Duquesne University's Department of Music Education and Music Therapy. In this presentation, we hope to equip caregivers and families with tools to provide more mindful and compassionate care for those persons suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's disease. The following video outlines ways to incorporate music and validation techniques into the day-to-day care we provide for our residents and loved ones. It was filmed on location at Baptist Home Society's 2 Western Pennsylvania campuses and was made possible through a grant from the Mary Hillman Jennings Foundation.
Grab your coat and get your hat. Leave your worries on the doorstep. Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. Can't you hear that pitter pat? And that happy tune is your step. Life can be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shade with those blues on parade, but I'm not afraid. This rover's crossed over. If I never have a cent, I'll be rich as Rockefeller. Gold dust at my feet on the sunny side of the street. Well, again, thank you all for coming down to join us this afternoon, hear a little bit more about music therapy. And to get us going here, I'm going to give you the kind of stuffy, long-winded definition of music therapy, just so that I can say I put it out there. Okay? So the big, stuffy, long definition here is that music therapy is the clinical and evidence-based use of music interventions to accomplish individualized goals within a therapeutic relationship by a credentialed professional who has completed an approved music therapy program. So let's talk a little bit about what that all means. So clinical and evidence-based use of music, that means there's research. There have been clinical studies through a variety of forums. There are 2 music therapy publications journals. One is the Journal of Music Therapy. Another one is called Music Therapy Perspectives. But music therapy studies have also been published in any number of research periodicals and publications. That's where I want you to kind of be aware of. First and foremost, it's not just somebody walking in and doing what feels right. It's based on research and protocols. Using music interventions to accomplish individualized goals. I think we can all pretty much agree that music has a certain power over us, yes? Mm-hmm. Right? It's enjoyable. Absolutely. Music therapy takes that a step further. How can we utilize our pre-existing relationships and connections with music to accomplish clinical goals? So, for example, reducing the signs and symptoms of depression or anxiety. How can we incorporate music and co-treat with a physical therapist to help you get through that last foot of your exercises, right? How can we get through those last 10 reps? My only sunshine, you make me happy. Yeah. Kind of like Elaine was saying, she had a resident one time who, due to the effects of a stroke, could no longer speak, but she was still able to sing. We know this can be accomplished because when we view someone's brain in a fMRI scan, when they are engaged in regular speech, basically one part of the brain, that speech center in the brain, is stimulated and shows as a different color on the scan. Right? When we engage in music, fireworks are going off all across the brain, both hemispheres. There are different neural pathways formed when we engage in music because we're combining not just the words of the lyrics, but the melody, the harmony, the rhythm, the accompaniment. All of these things are connecting to different parts in our brain. And so even if one area is damaged due to stroke, due to the effects of Alzheimer's or dementia, or due to the effects of a traumatic brain injury, for example, we can still use music to stimulate these other areas of the brain, and it's like creating a detour around that damaged part of the brain to get to that skill that we're trying to address. Are you with me so far? Yeah, I'm still making sense, right? So we're all good through there. All right, individualized goals within a therapeutic relationship by a credentialed professional. Me, I'm one of them. One of, now I believe the latest numbers were over 6,000 board certified music therapists across the nation. There are 3 universities locally that offer a music therapy degree program. While there are many music and health modalities out there, including, you may have heard about music and memory. Some folks call it the iPod program, right? Where you get a little personalized playlist and you can listen to it whenever you want. Musicians on call, music practitioners, therapeutic musicians, what else? Harp therapy, sound healing. These are all professions that utilize music in some way. Music therapy specifically is the only one of these that requires a 4-year college degree education to practice at minimum, including an internship and board certification afterwards with continuing education requirements. And that's at least double any requirements of any of those other approaches. I'm not here tonight to tell you that one is any better than the other. They're just different, and you should know what you're looking for and what you get. That's all. Okay? All right. Wonderful. So, we have a better idea of what we're talking about when I say music therapy now? A little clearer? A little clearer. Okay. So, I feel like this is a great time for some music. What do you say? Blue sky smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Blue birds singing a song, nothing but blue birds all day long. I never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right, noticing the days hurrying by. When you're in love, my how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on. I never saw the sun shining so bright, I never saw things going so right, noticing the days hurrying by. When you're in love, my how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on. We wanted to talk today about communication, right? We have this whole series of in-services that we've been doing. Last time I introduced you basically to music therapy and myself and the program that we've been doing. And today we have communication. In addition to being a board-certified music therapist, I'm also a certified validation worker. And so that's something that I really try to incorporate into my practice a lot. And I think it's important to talk about, right? We have a lot of tools and techniques that we use in terms of how we communicate with our residents each day. And I'm hoping that by the end of this hour, I'm going to give you a few more that you can work with. So before we get too far into it, we need some ground rules. Okay, so here are my ground rules in terms of communicating with folks who have dementia or some memory care needs. The first rule I have is that it's not about you. Okay. You guys have so much that you need to accomplish in a day, whether it's getting them out for activities, whether it's feeding, dressing, bathing, providing medications, cleaning, all the housekeeping things. There's a lot to be done, but those are all your tasks, okay? Those are your tasks. Feeling safe and secure, feeling loved, feeling like we have a sense of purpose. Those are your residents' tasks for each day that you interact with them. And we need to make sure every time we approach one of our residents, we come at it from this place of any kind of interaction I'm about to have isn't about what I need to get done. It's about making sure they have what they need. And by doing that, it's going to make your tasks a lot easier to accomplish as well at the same time. And the second rule, I hope I don't confuse you by saying this, our second ground rule is actually the first rule of improv. Any of you ever watch live improv or on stage, the show Whose Line Is It Anyway? Does anybody watch that? That was hysterical. You've done improv. So tell us, can you tell me kind of like in your own words?
You agree to everything.
You agree to everything, basically. So if the first person out on stage comes out with a prop that says, oh, this beautiful palm tree, it's giving us so much lovely shade from the hot summer sun. Colin doesn't come over and go, no, that doesn't make any sense at all. Let's rethink this now. Right? He just goes with it. Oh yeah, and there's coconuts and whatever else they're going to do with this crazy thing. Okay? So acceptance. A lot of times when, or maybe not a lot of times, sometimes when we go to interact with our residents, they might not respond to us or interact with us in a way that we would consider typical or normal, or even sometimes it doesn't even seem socially appropriate, like the norm, right? But we need to start by just accepting them wherever they are in that moment, not just for the day or for the week, but in that one particular moment when you come face to face with them. So we have, it's not about us, and just going with the flow, right? Accepting that person for where they are. Good rules? Yes. All right, we can do this. I recently came across on Facebook, a post came up. It was the 33 things that people affected by Alzheimer's wish others knew. One of the ones that stuck out to me that kind of went into this topic, it says, remember that each time you interrupt or argue, you increase the duration of the conversation without resolving the issue. Have you seen that happen? Yeah. But Sally, your mom's not here. You're 89. And what does Sally say?
Usually she'll say, but she is here.
Yeah. We're in a loop. Okay? We're in a loop. So we need to find ways to kind of get out of those loops so that we can help our resident accept them where they are, and then hopefully maybe get some of our tasks done along the way too. Okay. How many of you have heard of validation? Yay, lots of hands. This is one of my favorite topics. Validation was created by a woman named Naomi Feil. It's basically a means of communicating with who she calls the disoriented very old.
So validation meaning in like what category do you mean?
That's where we're going to
That's
start.
where we're starting, okay.
You're right on it.
All right.
You're right. So what does it mean to validate? Give me your best Webster's dictionary definition.
Just listening.
To listen.
To agree with someone.
There we go. To agree with someone, maybe?
Yeah, let them, know that they're okay.
Let them know that they're
It's
okay.
not up to me to tell you who you are. You're fine, however you are.
Okay. So I hear a little bit of that acceptance in what you're saying.
To acknowledge how somebody feels.
To acknowledge them how they feels. Yeah, absolutely.
To help someone feel understood.
Help somebody feel understood. Yeah, I like that one too. Very good.
Maybe offering like empathy or like an understanding of,
Yeah.
trying to feel them.
Yeah, and I love that word, empathy. We're going to talk about that word too. Lovely. Because that's a big part of validation and this whole approach to communication. So wonderful. Okay, so I think both of you with your definitions of validate are pretty spot on. We want to confirm and reaffirm what our residents are feeling, especially to an extent what they're saying, right? But validation really puts a focus on entering the emotional reality of the resident, right? Sometimes, and this is, we're talking specifically in this moment about our residents who have some kind of dementia, whether it be Alzheimer's or just mild cognitive impairment. We all work with residents who have memory care needs
Yes.
on a daily basis, pretty much?
Yes.
One place, okay. Good. Wonderful, that's why you're here. And did you ever find yourselves in situations where you're trying to interact with this resident and you're like, they're just not listening to me, or I have no clue what they're talking about or what I'm supposed to say?
Every day.
Everything. Then I'm so glad you're here. Because hopefully I'm going to give you some tips and tools and techniques that you can use in those situations. Okay. When we talk about validation, I kind of see three big steps. We have our approach, what we actually are going to do or say, and then in conclusion. So first let's talk about our approach. Right. I'm sure all of you, typically when you go to engage with a client, if they're in their room, you're going to walk up and knock on the door. Hi, Sally, it's Susie. I'm here to give you your medicine or help get you up for the day. You go through this. Those are each steps that we've just incorporated into our general approach to each resident. Okay. When you go to approach a resident who you know has maybe some memory care needs, who you know kind of presents as maybe challenging, there are some additional steps that I want you to take for yourself. And the first one is going to be centering. You do yoga a little bit? So when you're practicing your yoga, you're kind of taking in those deep breaths, you're clearing your mind, yeah? Just focusing on what you're doing, like, I don't know, whatever move. I'm not going to attempt yoga on video. Not in work pants anyway. So yeah, that first step is just to center yourself before you even approach a resident to try to engage with them. Just to kind of do whatever you need to do, whether it's taking a deep breath, join me. Take that deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. whether it's doing a stretch before you go in. Right. Work with me. Oh, it's still morning. It's still morning. Stretch it out. Right. There you go. Elaine's getting into it now. Right. Very nice. It does feel nice, right? And it kind of just lets you go. Even just for that moment, for that space. So we're clearing out our minds so that we can follow rule number 1 and really focus in on the resident and where they are. Because we got to clear all our tasky stuff out of the mind. And then we all have a pretty straightforward ritual, I'll say, when we go to approach a resident, right? Say the resident's in their room. What are you going to do first?
Knock on the door.
Knock on the door. What else?
Introduce yourself.
Introduce yourself.
Call them by name.
Call them by name. We're going to scaffold a little bit, right? So that's our base, the structure, doing those things. The next level, and you might already do this, but we do it kind of nonchalantly. So bring some conscious effort into the fact that as you're entering the room, observe the resident. How are they presenting to you today? What are some things that you can look for?
The expression on their face.
Facial expression.
How they're sitting in their chair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So some body language. Can you give me a couple examples?
Well, if they're kind of leaning over to one side or totally hunched down.
What might those things tell you?
Could be a sign of pain, could be a sign of being tired. They could be positioned in their chair wrong.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So facial expression, body language. What else?
How they're dressed, how their hair is,
What can those things tell you?
just if they're unkept, there's something going on, you know.
They might be a little out of sorts today, having trouble focusing, maybe a little more confused in this moment than before. Sure. So in addition to just overall body language, we can look at musculature, right? Do their shoulders seem to be tight or tense? Are their hands clenched, right? Are they in their chairs all curled up in as close to a fetal position as you can get when you're in a wheelchair? Have we seen our residents do that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exhibit some of these things. We can also watch for respiration, right? How is their breathing? Is it short and shallow, or are they taking some regular, fairly deep breaths? And these are all things, again, you're being consciously aware of them as you walk into a room. How many of those things can you notice in a few seconds? A lot. More than you probably think you can, right? It's just being aware of them. And as we walk up to a resident, we also want to be aware of, try to get a sense of their personal space. Okay. Someone who's just has some mild cognitive impairments will likely have what we would consider pretty typical sense of personal space, right? This kind of conversational distance, right? Not necessarily close enough to touch them or anything, but we can talk comfortably, okay? As someone progresses further into dementia or states of confusion, they tend to withdraw into themselves more and more. And so as you approach them, you might have to get closer before they even kind of recognize you as being in their space, right? Have you noticed that with your residents, the folks you work with? Yeah. Okay. Good. We're still all on the same page. Yeah. So you're being aware of all those things. And then I think where we have trouble, we have challenges, is kind of what to say or what to do if a resident is presenting in an agitated way, in an aggressive way, in a depressed or paranoid way even, or just a very sad way. And I'm going to refer back to one of our ground rules here, and that is of acceptance, right? We're humans. We experience a range of emotions throughout our lives and throughout our day even. Is it okay to have a sad day? Is it okay to miss someone who's passed away? Is it okay to be angry that you feel a loss of control about how your life is going? Yeah, it's okay. And you know what? I'm going to give you guys this wonderful gift right now. You don't have to fix the problem. You don't have to make them happy all the time, right? I'm taking that burden away from you. We're gonna lock it in a closet somewhere over here, okay? I want you to focus on your role being just to simply support the person in that emotion wherever they are. That's all you need to do. That's how we validate. So we're trying to be as open as we can, and that's all part of our approach too, right? We're aware of the limits that they're setting for us, but we're also being aware of trying to open ourselves, reduce our limits that we're putting on them. All right, so we've made it into the room, right? What do we say? What do we do? Because sometimes I think that can be the part we're most unsure about. Like, especially when we have a resident who is further into their dementia, they don't always seem to be making sense all the time. They're talking about mom and here they're 89 or, you know. And the big thing I want to kind of separate the two ideas, because generally when I talk about validation, there's a lot of confusion in this area. How many of you are familiar with the therapeutic lie? I want to draw a distinction between just always agreeing with someone. I'm looking for my mom, right? Where's my mom? I need to get home to her. Oh, it's okay, Sally. She's out at the store. She's going to be back later. That's a therapeutic lie.
Everybody knows that. Yeah, do it all the time.
Yeah. I want to separate in your mind that from what validation is. It's not the same. Okay, and that's where I find a lot of people struggle to separate those two ideas. They seem similar at first. But what my concern always is, because I've seen it happen, is that regardless of your intent, we all have such good intent in saying those things, right? But it's still a lie. And like I said, on some level, she knows that she's 89 and her mom's been dead for 20 years. And I've seen residents have something will trigger that, what we're going to call moment of clarity. And you're going to get caught in your lie. I speak to this a lot. It's kind of like a big passion of mine, because I've seen it backfire on people. I've seen a resident who got highly agitated over who knows what one day, and just up and down the halls, banging on doors. Jim, Jim, where's Jim? I need Jim, my husband. I need him. He needs to take me out of here right now. And to the point where the nurse called in the paramedics, 302, it was a bad day, right? And the paramedic gets there, and out of sheer, I don't know what to do next, he says, Jim's going to meet us at the hospital. She stopped dead in her tracks and wheeled around on this man. How dare you? Jim's been dead for years. And about smacked him into next Tuesday. She'd be calling him for an hour, right? She still knew. She wasn't looking for Jim. She was looking for some sense of security, of belonging, of this feeling that she was lacking. I don't want that to happen to you guys, right? You do so much throughout the day to work with the residents, to create this wonderful sense of rapport with them, this wonderful trust that you need to be able to provide the personal care that you do day in and day out, to be able to come in and ask somebody all kinds of personal history questions, or to help them change their clothes or take a shower. You guys need that trust. And I don't want to see you sabotaging it just because you want to have the answer that makes it all better right now. But I want to give you some other tools that you can replace it with. So, let's see. Have you ever had a resident, worked with a resident before, who's kind of been not talking sense? What's that like?
I try to get engaged in whatever they want to talk about, and a lot of times, most always, they want to talk about their past. Even if they have a cognition problem. Well, what was your mother's name? What was your father's name? What did your dad do? And they always remember all that.
So, yeah.
And
So if I came up to you, or you came up to me as me being a resident, say, I need to find my mom. She's at home. She's waiting for me. I need to get to her.
Tell me some things about your mom.
That was a good response. I like that one. Okay. But she's at home, and I know she must be so worried about me because I'm not there. I should have been there an hour ago. I just don't know what to do.
Well, why do you think your mom would be waiting on you? Is she a good cook or?
I don't know. Oh, she's wonderful. She's the best mom ever. But I need to go. I need to go. I just don't know what to do.
Well, what do you think we could do? Maybe.
I just need to go. I need to get out of here. Come with me. Come show me. You know how to go. You know how to go, right?
Okay.
Right?
Well, let's just say that maybe mom, is busy a little bit. So what could we do before we go see her?
Okay, wait. We were going to work on this.
Okay.
What'd she do?
Therapeutic line.
We both know Mommy's not waiting at home.
I would divert her from the whole conversation of mom.
Yeah.
And, that use like a
Thank
distraction.
you. You did a
of
great
something
job.
that she,
I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. You did good.
like if, let's say she liked ice cream, and say, let's get ice cream, or let's go over here and see what's going on, or let's,
We could use a little distraction. What from my demeanor, from how I was presenting, what was I feeling?
Fear.
Fear of what?
Being somewhere not at home, where
Your
You
mom
don't feel
waiting
safe.
on you.
Not safe.
Lost.
I felt lost. Yeah. It's so scary sometimes to feel like you don't know where to go or what you're supposed to do. That's validating that fear, right? It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be afraid sometimes. We're humans. We have these emotions. Let them know that it's okay. And I'm right here with you.
So
And
what
we're going to
would you
work it
have
out
done?
together.
What would you have done in that situation? What would you have
You
said?
want to role play with me?
Yeah, go on.
Go ahead, Denise.
You had to ask.
Real.
I need to go home to my mom. My mom's waiting for me. But I need to go now.
You need to go now.
I need
right
to go,
now?
I need to go right now because mom's waiting for me.
What do you
My-
need to do?
My mom needs to take care of me, and I need to take care of my mom. So I need to go
You do
now.
such a good job of taking care of the people that you love.
Aw, gee.
Boy, that's
See, I
That's kind of sad. But yeah, I mean, so when you take away that tool of the therapeutic lie, we need to have something to replace it with.
So look for not that specific the it, because it doesn't necessarily matter what it is. What mom? Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Like the it, whether it's mom or home or husband, the it doesn't matter as much as the how it makes us feel, the emotion related to whatever it is. So address the emotion of it. You look really scared. You seem really sad today. If they're conversational still within their confusion, we can ask a lot of open-ended questions, right? Who, what, where, when types of things, okay? Try to avoid why, because a lot of times the response you're going to get to, why is that? Or why do you want to go there? What's the response you get? It doesn't matter, I just need to go there, right? They dismiss it because typically they don't have a good answer. And so that's their coping mechanism, right? So asking those questions to try to dig down, what are we really looking for? What can I help you with within this environment? If they're not so conversational, not so verbal anymore, folks who are further into their dementia, their confusion, you might go to more closed-ended questions, things that they can answer with yes, no. Right? We can utilize reflecting or mirroring, right? And not just mirroring with words, rephrasing with our facial expression, with our body language, with our tone of voice. Would anybody be willing to role play with me for a moment? So you are a resident. Picture a resident in your mind's eye, right? Embody them. Are you agitated? Are you know?
I want to go home.
You want to go home?
Yes. I don't like it here.
You're really upset about that today?
Yes. I don't have anything here.
Nothing?
Nothing. This isn't my house. Not my things.
Not your things. None of these are your things?
No.
Is there any one thing?
My clothes.
Your clothes. They're a part of you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We have that.
I don't have my family here.
You really miss them.
Yes, I live with my daughter and her husband.
Your daughter? She sounds like a wonderful person.
She is. She's very kind to me. And I want to go back to there. I'm going to go back there.
You really miss her.
Why do I have to stay here?
It's a really confusing time right now, isn't it?
Yes, I'd like to leave.
I can understand that. Absolutely. You don't feel like this is your space, and you want to go back to the place that you know.
Yes, if I get my things, could you take me today?
I could not take you today.
Well, could you call her?
It's really important for you to get back to her.
Yes.
Tell me the thing you like best about being there.
Well, I could help her watch the children, and I like the way she cooks.
What does she cook the best?
I like her meatloaf.
Meatloaf. That's one of my favorites too. That's great. Maybe we could tell the cooks to make some meatloaf one of these days.
That might be nice.
Could be nice. I think that's a great idea. In the meantime, we're doing something over here. Would you like to join me?
In a while.
In a little while? Okay. Thanks for letting me come and talk with you today. It's nice having you with me.
Thanks for talking to me.
So what are they looking for?
They could be looking for the house that they lived with their parents.
Comfort. What emotion is tied to that home, that house? What need? Safety?
Safety. Loved. Secure.
Love, secure. We can help them process the emotion of, I feel lost, I feel insecure, I feel like I don't have a place here in this space. We can use, where is your home? Right? We're getting a sense of where they are in their reality. Where is your home? Tell me about it. I've never been there. You know, it sounds like you miss it so much. What do you miss the most? And that kind of leads us into this idea of explore extremes, right? What's your favorite thing about your home? What does your mom do best? She's good at so many things. Right? What's the best thing she does? Has this ever happened before? What did you do then? Help them process through it, and just, you're not there to provide all the answers. You're just there to help them along the path and be with them at that time. Okay. try to avoid why questions, right? Because a lot of times what you're going to get is, I don't know why. This is where I am. This is what I'm feeling. I don't know why. It just is. Would you be willing to role play our resident?
Sure. Do I need to make my own scenario?
Uh-huh. Yep. How does this resident present to you?
They put me here. They put me here. Where are they? I want to go home. Where's the bus? Take me to the bus. Let me out of these doors. I want to go home. Mother! Mother! I don't like it here anymore.
You need to get. You need to go. I sense you have so much. You want to go places.
I do. I want to go home. Take me to the bus stop.
Go home. Home is where we want to go.
I want to catch the trolley to Bloomfield. Take me.
To Bloomfield?
Yes.
Bloomfield.
I've
never been to
Mother
Bloomfield.
is there. Mother! She's waiting for me. I need to take care of my mother.
You take such good care of her. She knows that she can count on you. You've always been there for her. I'm going to pause this there for just a moment. Because if we can respond and reflect enough to get somebody to stop and agree with us, if we can find a way to get that response of, you hear me, you hear what I'm saying, how big of a hurdle did we just come over? May not work every time with every person, and I get the sense that you were coming along with me maybe a little easier than this resident would come along with you. And while I appreciate that in this moment, so what techniques, what tools did you see me utilizing?
You were comforting me.
Comforting? How did I comfort you?
You were saying, yes, you love your mother, or you take good care of her.
So providing,
you're providing her
support,
with the comfort and the
supportive
support that she
phrases, reaffirming that you are.
I noticed as you did the same action she was doing.
This is called
and then
mirroring.
Joined hands
right?
with her to make an extra connection.
And let me talk about that a little bit more, because I tried to do this, and here I am with our distance, right? I'm pretty close to her, right? And I was in her face as much as she was in mine, and I was not there to her. And so some folks, especially later stage dementia, distance is like this. We need to have that touch sometimes to be able to get in to their reality, right? So we have touch and validation. We learn about certain touches, right? They're called anchors that tend to evoke the senses, feelings, emotions, or memories of specific things. What has been found over the years, may I approach you? What we have seen over time is that a kind of heavy hand on the shoulder and some eye contact can provide a sense of friendship, companionship, right? Or compadres, yeah. A little gentle on the cheek, may I? Can often stimulate memories of mother, right? So if you have a resident who's in later stage of dementia and keeps obsessing over mother, right, things, you might try a little bit of that. Yeah. Oh, your mom. She was such a wonderful person. Whatever the case calls for, individual basis. May I? I find that a strong hand to the back of the head often evokes fatherly feelings, okay? I'm going to touch the back of your neck. Or like little circles with your fingertips can often stimulate the thoughts of children for that nurturing kind of. Think of the kids giving you big hugs, right? Do that to yourself. Little circles on the back of your neck. Just little light circles. Does it remind? Oh, she says, doesn't it remind you? So yeah. So if we've broken through to be in the reality, we're going to say, with her, right? We're in your emotional reality of all this struggle and all this tension and anxiety, and we've gotten through it. To this mother, she needs me. She wants me to be there. You have always taken such good care of her.
I have.
How strong is that connection that you now have established? Okay. You see? So we're not dismissing, we're not denying, we're not telling her that it's not real, because emotionally it is for her right now. We're validating it.
And I think what lingers the most, especially with the dementia, is they may not remember what you said or what you did, but what may linger is how you made them feel.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want you guys to have that rapport, that relationship with your residents that I know you already have.
With our time schedules, you do kind of think, they start telling you about their past. They want to tell you a whole hour stories, especially when they're new. And that's part of something I have to originally find out. And I'll find that, I'm thinking ahead, I have these phone calls to make and I have this downstairs.
We need to recenter.
And I think that's a good point, don't think of yourself first, but think of their feelings.
Right.
Think of them.
Yeah. Because what are they doing when they're
I
telling
have
you
to
all those
remind
stories?
myself that sometimes,
What are they doing by telling you all those stories?
Yeah, I think it's kind of soothing to them. It helps their feelings.
It's reflecting.
They're reflecting, and they're not feeling as lost, and they're connecting with you. And they're trying to make you understand their plight.
Yeah. This is me. This is where I come from. And I want you to not just understand me, but I'm hoping you'll accept me too.
I've had 2 gentlemen in the past week who are extremely intelligent in their professions, very advanced professions, and they're feeling they're losing their independence just by someone telling them, sit up straight, don't lean back so far. And just those things alone, they don't like. They'll tell me about it. And then trying to explain to them it might be a safety issue or something.
Sometimes it's your approach at getting them to sit up straight.
Yeah.
If you just say sit up straight, or hey, why don't we try this? It might make you feel better.
So be aware of your tone, the tone of your voice. And when we can, we always try to leave on a positive note, right? The one other thing I'm gonna try to drive home for you here before we go is that if you need to leave a situation, not everything's gonna get resolved in the 5 minutes that you have, because you do have all your tasks left to do, right? That's your job. That's why we're here. But try to be just as honest and upfront as you can. I really would love to hear more about this, but there are other people that are waiting for me to help them too. Can I come back and hear about this later? But then you have to go back later, right? As long as we're avoiding that outright lie, okay, you still have a lot of tools in your little bag here. And we're running to the end of our time. But I want to, do you feel like you've gained a little something from all this today? Okay, so when we go in, we're centering ourselves, we're taking a minute to take that deep breath, come up with your own tool, whether it's while you're outside the room, okay, I'm ready, right, you go in. Some folks like to, do a little hand massage or do the ear pull thing, right? Whatever triggers you to kind of let go of the day for that moment. I always want you guys to know, just because I'm a board certified music therapist, right? We don't own music, right? My point is not to come in and be like, and tell you, oh, you're not using that right or doing that part right, or you're not trained or qualified to blah, 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 whatever. I love for you guys to use music with the residents. Right? They respond to it so well. Have you seen that kind of response from them?
We have a lot of sing-alongs. They love that.
Okay. So how do you do the sing-alongs?
We put a tape in and then they sing along.
Pretty straightforward.
Or we have a book and then we all sing
Okay, so
together.
like little songbooks or
Yeah.
lyric books.
But they like the video better.
Okay.
I was gonna say the Apple TV,
Mm-hmm.
we plug in YouTube in the morning and we pick an artist and it plays all the artist songs and then they see the videos of the actual person.
Okay.
So that makes a huge
Nice.
difference versus
A
just
little
listening.
multimedia
Oh, yeah.
aspect going on.
That's
I
a
like
big
They
hit.
like a visual. They're very visual people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, eventually we were gonna get them on all the floors.
that. Neat.
So,
I would love that.
Very fun. Neat idea. Absolutely.
We've been playing music before meals instead of having the TV on,
Okay.
because it's usually just bad news. And so we keep the music on, and that seems to go better.
Yeah. So what kinds of music do you use at that time?
I think we play Bob FM. It's kind of like maybe something you'd hear at the doctor's office waiting
Okay.
room. You know, something that would appeal to everyone.
Yeah. All right. Good
And
deal.
then Sundays we play religious music
Okay.
and they love that, the gospel. And they love Mozart. I see them all relaxing.
Okay.
When they
Interesting.
play the classical music.
Uh-huh.
You can see all the relaxation in them.
Yeah.
They're very quiet, so they.
So you notice
really
it more-
tuned in. They love that.
Mm-hmm. You notice it more specifically with Mozart or just classical in general, and you were
Classical
using
music.
that as an example?
Mhm.
Okay.
Classical music. That's all we have is Mozart, so.
Oh, gotcha.
I
Okay.
don't know.
We can expand that. So some other ideas, some other things we can do. If we found that they really seem to enjoy like hearing particular artists, right? We can always frame, this is geared a little more towards activities, frame little like biography channel-esque kinds of things. So do you ever, guys who ever do that?
you mean
Like all about
history?
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these types of things, right? Sharing little facts or tidbits that you know about a particular artist or a particular song. And those are things you can do just when you're providing care. I know you guys are activities and you're in administration. And what's kind of your
Social work.
social work?
Nursing.
Nursing. Fabulous. So just in general conversation, if you know that a resident likes a particular type of music or a particular artist, you can always just use that to build rapport. We do exercise programs, right? We use music with that. Okay. Always the same music? Do we change it up?
Change it up all
Change
the
it
We
up.
change it up? Just do whatever? Okay. So when we're using the music, I always like to make sure people are aware to try to match with the music and not just have it on as background, right? But to really move to the beat and move in a way that reflects the music. So for example, let's say, hopefully this isn't too loud, we have something like this, a little Rhapsody in Blue, and you're cueing everyone, okay, let's march. Not as effective, right? So if we think about those, we raise our awareness of it, and just as like a big stretch. Much more effective. It's a better cue, okay? So we keep those things in mind. And as the dynamics grow, we can grow our motions too. Right? So something like this, little Pennsylvania 65000, right? This one has more of a beat to it, so more, what's the word I'm looking for? Specific motions. You can do more marching, more stepping. You can do little punches, right? And make sure it's to the beat, right? If we just, it doesn't work as well. Use the music, okay? Yeah. Same kind of idea when, I'm gonna pause that for a moment. You can put on Swanee River and sway to it, right? Or row. We're on a river. Where are we going? You know, where are we headed? What port are we going to today? These types of things, okay? One way to kind of expand on that is when you're just walking with a resident or moving them or trying to get them from point A to point B. We can use music there too. Be aware of the tempo of their walking and try to pick a song that matches it. I don't expect everyone here to be like trained singers, but I have faith that you all can hum out a tune to a recognizable degree, right? None of you are like completely out of your realm. If I said, sing the ABCs, you can sing, okay? Yeah? So don't let that fear get in your way or be a barrier to you engaging the residents. You get to be the resident, right? And we're just walking. How would you walk with a resident down the hall? Are we side by side? Do you take their arm a lot?
Usually someone will take their arm and someone else will kind of follow behind with the wheelchair.
Okay. So great. May I hold your arm as we walk? Okay. And how would one of the residents, I'm sorry, my hands are so cold.
They are.
Apologize. So can you kind of like mimic a resident's gait, like residents walk?
Shuffle.
Yeah, you go with their pace. Sometimes it takes them a while to kind of get their step on.
Okay.
So you just pace with them and you can't rush them.
Right. We were sailing along on Moonlight Bay. We could hear the voices ringing. Right, so that just picking something that kind of, again, you're already aware of their pace. Whatever pops in your head. If they're staying with the tempo, staying with the pace, could even use that to try to get them to go a little bit faster. If you up the tempo and they go with you, hey, look at us go, right? We're going. Or if they're one of these folks that they start out and then the walker kind of gets out here and they end up going like this through everywhere. Sometimes just having that constant tempo of a music, of a song. If you want guys have like your phones or your iPods or your anything on you on the floor, I don't know if that's allowed.
I'm not allowed to use the phone.
If it was for music for the resident, I don't know if that makes a difference, but you could ask your supervisor. And you have something that's appropriate for them. Or I know a lot of times there's just music playing on the floor, right? Pick up on it and use that. We know it, the holidays, we've got the Christmas carols going and all that jazz. Also around different holidays, we decorate, right? We have little hearts and flowers and things up now from Valentine's Day, or maybe we've started taking those down already. Already down. Oh, for St. Patrick's Day. Yay! That's one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at a nursing home that played music on the floors all day long.
Yeah.
Just soft. I mean, not loud.
Yeah.
Background music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of stimulated the staff. It wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, you hear the doctor's office or
Yeah.
something.
Just the elevator music, kind of like you were talking about with the lunch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what I guess I want you to take away from it. It doesn't have to be just background. We can use it to help our day go along, to help reduce some stress, some anxiety, some tension, and just make things run a little bit smoother than maybe they would have in the past. Decorations. So we just automatically, I know we don't do reality orientation directly, right? We talked about validation last time. And you know I'm a big proponent of that. But we still do little things, like decorating, like singing carols around Christmas time, to gently orient. You can do the same thing in your day-to-day tasks with the residents. You're getting them up and ready for the morning. Go into the room, oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. Hey, Suze, did you see the sun shining out today? Oh, Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, Please shine down on me. It's gonna be a great day. Little blue skies. All kinds of little ditties and songs we can sing with ourselves, right? There's one. If I have groups in the morning, you know, sometimes we're not all morning people, are we? I'm not a morning person. So I like having songs that are at my disposal for when not everyone is up and ready to go or is willing to be. So I have this little tune. It's an Irving Berlin song called Oh, How I Hate to Get Up in the Morning.
We have that all the time upstairs.
So we're familiar with this one. Good. So for those of you that aren't as familiar with it, here, we'll do a quick little ditty so you can be more familiar. Again, I don't assume all of you will just pick up a guitar in the middle of your day. Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning. Oh, how I'd love to remain in bed. For the hardest blow of all is to hear the buglers call. You've gotta get up, you've gotta get up, you've gotta get up this morning. Right, there it goes on. But that gives you a little sense. It's, even if somebody like has any military experience, hear the buglers call. Come on, Joe, that bugler's calling, I hear him. Help me out. These sound like things that you could do or would do with residents.
I hear some of the staff going in the rooms,
Mhm.
kind of singing like that and acting a fool with the residents.
Good. Wonderful. Yay. I love hearing that.
And like Barb, well, she's out to the hospital. She likes when you go Barb, 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 Barb. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when you use
Do
their
that
name in the song, they
Yes.
just love it.
Absolutely. That's
you can
another
find-
great tip.
Yeah.
Like it's just, it catches your attention. You hear your name, you're automatically like, oh, what?
Mhm.
Who, me? So yeah, that's a great tip. You can throw folks' names into a lot of different songs, right? You could do, come Josephine in my flying machine going, up we go, off we go. Come on, come with me.
Daisy.
Daisy, there you go. And you can put anybody
You
in
can
it.
put anybody's name in it.
Charles, give me your answer true. You want to come to bingo or not? Right?
I think they enjoy staff that's bubbly and pleasant like that too.
Yeah. And I think doing things like this make it not feel so task oriented. It brings a little lightness into the interactions, right? Which is sometimes just that little bit is all
My
we
dad
need.
sings when he empties my garbage.
There you go.
Sings to me all
He's always singing, isn't he?
I was going to say,
Singing
I know he
morning to
uses
night, he
music.
sings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does. He's a happy guy.
Yeah. Absolutely. And how does it make you feel when you hear him doing that?
happy.
Happy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This kind of
Makes
brightens your day
everybody
too.
happy, yeah. Than to have a negative person.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody
Should we
that's
make that a
grumpy.
slogan? Start putting signs up in the building, be more like Joe? Sing a song today.
Better than being grumpy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wanted to tell you about, sometimes these things don't even have to come from us. Be aware of what tools the residents are already showing you or giving to you. I was over at Providence Point a while ago, and there was a resident who can walk, can ambulate, but she spends a little more time in a wheelchair or seated. She's not a wanderer at all. But the staff, they were getting ready to take her off to lunch or to the next activity. Come on, so-and-so, it's time to go. And on her own, she goes, off we go into the wild blue yonder. But she was cueing herself, right? She was prepping her mind and her body. Okay, I have to get up now. Off we go, right? So use that. She's giving you this tool. It's right there. And she came up with it. She already has a connection with it. Try it again next time. Make it part of the routine. And does that help? Right? May not work every time, but you have an extra tool in your toolkit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We talked about walking to the beat and just helping general orientation with the tasks or things that are coming up. Show me the way to go to lunch. I'm hungry and my stomach is growling. Just having fun with it. Make up your own words to things and be silly. Don't be afraid to be silly with it. Yeah. The other things I wanted to mention were especially when we have music playing, for, like you said, for meals. I notice a lot of residents have radios in their rooms. Just making sure that it's more geared toward their preferred music, right? So again, gangster rap kind of stuff, maybe not the best, right? I like that channel you mentioned seems to have a lot of variety, you were saying.
Yeah.
Be aware if it's like 70s to 90s variety versus like 40s to 60s variety. Because the 40s to 60s was probably going to be more likely what they would be familiar with. If when families are coming in, you can talk to them about, is there a particular artist that your loved one really enjoys when they listen to the radio? What kinds of stations do they listen to? And is it possible to just put a little, like the envelope sticker labels on the side of their radio with a couple radio stations listed on it, so that anybody who walks in, whether it's their first day or they know this resident intimately, they can see and turn that radio to their preferred type of music, to their preferred station. My biggest pet peeve on the planet is walking into a resident's room and hearing the radio going to a station that is completely opposite of this resident's personality. Clearly, you walk in and clearly, like, a staff member went in and turned it to what motivated them for while they were doing their work and just left it. My biggest pet peeve. I'm like, because it could be classical. Like, and unless, I've never had a resident tell me they would rather listen to something in the last 20 years, that came out in the last 20 years, as opposed to something from when they were 20 and 30 years old. Does that make sense? Anything else that any other ideas that have kind of sparked for you guys in talking about this?
You know, they seem to like musicals when they've been on TV.
Okay, yeah.
They like those.
Absolutely. And that's something that was really big for their era, right? The generation. Musicals. Things like Oklahoma, like State Fair, George M. Cohan tunes. Because they were all
Christmas musicals too.
White Christmas. Yeah. All that jazz. Top Hat. That's where we get Cheek to Cheek from. Yeah. Oh, What a Beautiful Morning that we mentioned earlier was from Oklahoma, right around that same time frame. Another movie musical. Okay? So yeah, that's a great observation. Don't be afraid of religious music. I think in our culture today, we've gotten our culture is so litigious, right? And hyper aware of upsetting anyone on a religious level. You all have access to their face sheets. You know, you can look up what religion someone is if you're super concerned about it. But if you see a resident who seems down or troubled, maybe you've heard them singing or saying little prayers or something in the past, don't be afraid to sing a little hymn with them or put in something, even if it's just Amazing Grace. I think we all know Amazing Grace, right? Amazing Grace,
always have to remember the poor.
That's very important.